welcome everybody to today's spooky, creepy, ghosty, Halloween-themed Bit
Oh,
Bistro Live.
the pumpkin is cute.
Oh, it glows. I don't know if you see that, but it has like a glow inside. Changes
Yeah,
color.
cute.
Yeah. So unfortunately, we're down the person today. Rabbit is not feeling well, so he had to go take a lay down. Just hoping he feels better. Um. So today we have three guests. The four have the ever explosively charming, as I said, Bombshell. Okay.
Hello, good morning. Ohayou gozaimasu.
It is super early in the morning for her, and I'm very thankful for her to wake up. She had a stream
I would
earlier
only do
today.
this for a few people. You're one of them.
Oh, thank you.
You know the bottom banner is.
Oh, my bottom banner is not correct. Oh no.
Oops.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you get upset when I point that out like 2 hours in, so I was being like nice.
Good
Can
catch.
fix it,
I
we
missed
can
that
fix it.
one. I missed that one.
It's cool. We can fix it. Yes, we can.
There we go.
I don't know.
So we also have joining us again today is Bray. You may know her from our Lancer games. If you don't, she usually gives me dirty looks when I say weird things.
I mean, I feel like everyone does that. I don't.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I'm just honest about it. There's a difference. I'm honest about it.
I just feel like you give them more often. You also talk to me more often, so maybe that's just my bias.
That could be.
We also have Kimchi, who's also from our Lancer games. Say hello, Kimchi.
Hello.
Today we are going to be sharing spooky, scary, creepy life stories. Kimchi, you have something scheduled later today?
No, I'm good.
Okay. I wasn't sure if you were going to be here for the whole time or if you did whatever.
I can hang out for about 2 hours. I don't know how long the plan is, but I can hang out for
we
about
usually
2
go
hours.
for about an hour or two. It may be
Perfect.
short or long today based on whatever story you tell or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
But usually about 1 to 2 hours is how we try to keep this nice little short short discussion.
Okay.
So actually, on that, you have creepy graveyard stories, right? Is that the topic today?
I was just gonna say what it was like living next to a graveyard in Japan, and just like I'm not really, I don't really have too many creepy stories myself, but just like maybe some interesting things about living next to a graveyard.
I mean, I feel like for a lot of people that's creepy.
Yeah, hopefully it's creepy. So I've lived in Japan for a long time. Let's just say that. And every place I've lived in Japan, I have not at all on purpose, but I've lived next to some form of Japanese temple. And fun fact, almost every Japanese temple has a graveyard in it. And it's literally just because places that are next to graveyards are super cheap. They're just really cheap.
That's
So,
weird. I couldn't imagine why.
Yeah, I can't imagine why. And so I've lived in like 3 places in Japan now. And the one that I've lived in the longest, or I had lived at the longest, I no longer live there, was this really big house that you had to go like 2 hours out of Tokyo to get to. It was definitely a pain every day to get to. And it was in the middle of nowhere, and there aren't even trains this place that I lived. I lived out in the mountains, and to get to my house, I literally every single night had to walk through a graveyard that was literally on the edge of a forest. Where, spoilers, there are also bears and boars and things like that. So I would and there's not any, since it's out in the middle of nowhere, there's like hardly any lights. So I work crazy hours. Like I work really, really late. I have a crazy job. I work in a crazy industry. So I was getting home. I would be like getting home at like midnight and 1 o'clock in the morning. And in order to get to my house, there's 2 routes I could take. One was super long, but there was street lights, and the other was short and direct, but it had to go through the graveyard. And at this hour in the morning, of course, I'm gonna go through the graveyard. And so I started, but there was like one of the days I had heard an announcement in the neighborhood, and it was like, "Do do do do, a bear has been seen. Please be careful. Do 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 do." Wait, what? What do you mean has been seen? What, hasn't been captured? Been seen? Okay. And so now I have to be afraid of a bear. So what you normally would do is you'd have a bell or you whistle while you walk when you're trying to be afraid of bears or whatever. So I got into the habit of whistling on my way home as I walked through the graveyard. And I did this for so long. I never had any problems. But apparently, according to Japanese lore or legend or whatever, you should never whistle while you go through a graveyard because that's how you summon ghosts.
I was gonna say, like, that sounds like a bad habit to pick up going through a graveyard.
So literally, I, in the middle of the night, would, walk through this graveyard whistling, and then now someone's told me that this is how you summon ghosts. So now every time I walk through the graveyard, I'm freaking out. So I have my phone out because I don't have like a proper flashlight. So I walk through the graveyard every single night with my phone out, and my friend who lived close by on speed dial, like ready to call any instant. Because I'm afraid of bears. Because one thing about living in Japan is they cremate everyone, so it's not like I have to be afraid of zombies. What's a ghost gonna do to me, right? And then one night,
I mean, you played Phasmo today, so like I feel like you have an
this
answer
is
to
true.
that.
Yeah, I'm like, put in a Phasmo quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, they were kind of scary in Phasmo. I didn't like them. I'm also really, really bad at like horror and scary things. I'm such like a scaredy cat. So it took every single night, it took all of my strength and courage to walk through this graveyard. But I'm so tired at this point. I can't walk around. I just can't. It's too far. So one of the nights in hindsight, it had to have been the sound of a vehicle or the sound of a moped or something. But I was walking through the graveyard, whistling as always, and I hear, and my brain went to bear, not ghost, bear, but I freaked out, dropped my stuff, booked back the other way, called my friend, ran around the corner, like ran around the far way home and got home, locked all the doors in my house, and then just sat there. Expecting a bear to be chasing after me. I don't know.
Did you just like leave your stuff there? Like,
Yeah, so until the next morning, my stuff was in the freaking graveyard.
Did they have like?
I would be like terrified to bring that stuff back in because, like, if it wasn't haunted before,
That's
I mean,
true.
that's a good point, right? But like, do they have like groundskeepers in the graveyards out there? Like, is that a thing?
So the grounds, it's not really quite a groundskeeper so much as the person who watches over the temple
Okay.
will look around the graveyard. But the way this path worked is it was literally like right next to the graveyards. Like there's a sidewalk, and then to the left of that, immediate left of the sidewalk, there's graves. And then to the right of the sidewalk, there was just a flat, empty field with some trees in it. And then in front of it, all the way in front was this really thick bamboo forest. So already very creepy. Oh, and then also if you went up
You
into
just,
that bamboo
named
forest.
like 4 horror movies convening in
Right?
one location.
Yeah, and if you went up into that bamboo forest, there was another temple on a hillside with more graves. But that temple on the hillside was like the best place to watch stars from.
See,
It was always really scary to go up there though.
in my mind, I'm just imagining in the morning, like the person, like the temple keeper, just like walking out, doing like the morning round, and just be like, "There's just a bunch of stuff here. What is going on?"
Can you imagine like if they thought like someone got like kidnapped or murdered, or that like a vengeful ghost came and got them? Like,
Yeah, I mean, they're
No,
probably
no worries,
freaking
it's
out. They're
just
just
a
like, "What?"
local foreign girl.
I'm just imagining this guy also being like, sometimes I hear whistling at night.
So yeah. But you know what? The rent on that place was so cheap.
Yeah, sounds like a
And then
steal.
yeah, it was a deal. And the one thing about Japanese graveyards is they don't have headstones the same way that they have here, but in like the US and whatnot. But they do have these long wooden things that have names on them. And they're very light because they're made of wood and they're huge. They're like as tall as me, and I'm like 5'8". They're really tall. And in the middle of the night, if there's wind, you'll just like hear the sound of like the sound of those things like hitting against each other, and it's like creaky wood. It's the creepiest freaking sound in the world.
So what you're saying is you lived in a horror movie period of time
Yes,
in Japan.
for a very long time.
Huh.
So like Sadako doesn't scare me.
It's like, you don't scare me. I've lived scarier things than this.
Yeah, like you were my neighbor. What's up, lady?
Like, you bring back nostalgic memories.
Yeah, it was very nostalgic. But honestly, the worst thing that happened to me in that place was not or it had to do with the graveyard, but I rounded the corner from the graveyard and I saw out of the corner of my eye, I saw a black blob, like a really big black blob, and I was like, "What in the world is that?" It's like this blob is as big as my hand. What in the heck? And then I looked close, and it was a freaking spider,
That's a
the size of my hand.
big spider.
You ever
and
heard of a
Wow.
You ever heard of a huntsman spider?
Yeah,
oh yeah.
Yeah,
that is a different kind of scary.
that's my literal ultimate nightmare. Oh, and
Ugh.
since I've moved into my new place, they've decided that they like to sometimes come inside my house, and I feel like I want to burn my house down when that happens.
I think, you
I've
need
had to call
yeah.
people. Yeah, I've had to call people over in the middle of the night to come help me with the spider.
I mean, I don't blame you. That's
Yeah, it's
that's not
scary.
cool.
It's not cool. And you wanted scary things? There's my scary things.
Yeah, I mean, that's a different kind of scary. That is like
The worst kind of scary.
that is a
Spiders
visible,
are part of
tangible
Halloween,
Yeah, this is true. I mean, we got some cobwebs going on up here in the
right?
stream room today.
And it's right above her circle too. So
It is. It's above me too.
Oh crap! No, please do not be sending vibes for like having them come out again. There was one that like one night, the first night I saw one after moving to this place, I was like, I'm out of the middle of nowhere because now I live in like a proper city. I live in a proper city. I was walking home and I went up to my doorstep and on literally sitting right in front of my freaking door where a welcome mat would be was one of these freaking spiders. And I was like, oh no. And I had locked all of my back doors. I have everything. My house was locked up. So there's only literally one way to get in my house. So I sat there, and this is 100% true. I sat there after midnight in my yard with a bunch of pebbles, throwing pebbles at the spider. But I didn't want to hurt the spider. So I couldn't hit him. I had to hit near him. And I am not very good at throwing. So I sat there for an hour trying to scare the spider away without hurting him.
Yeah, I have concerns about this plan, right? Like, if you throw too hard, won't you cause the spider to run in your direction instead of away from you?
What?
Like, you're trying to scare it
No,
away. So, like,
no. I
depending
figured
on...
he'd go away from.
Right, but, like,
That's
depending
true.
on where that pebble hits, it'll run away from the
Yeah,
pebble.
but I mean, like, you're
Yeah.
presumably far enough away that if the spider starts
I
running
was pretty
towards
far.
you have a whole yard to.
Oh yeah, no, I had plenty. I had
You
plenty.
can circle away from the spider. Like, it's not like you're just gonna stand there while a spider runs at you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah, I was definitely very far away from it. That's why I was really, really hard to throw the pebbles at it without like, I don't want to hurt you, because if I hurt you, you'll come after me seeking revenge. And I don't want to deal with that. So
It's like, it's not that huntsman spiders are not actually poisonous or dangerous.
yeah, no,
It's that you don't want him to come back for revenge.
exactly, 100% that.
I mean, I feel like the one kind of leads to the other.
Yeah, I suppose. They can't do anything. They're probably more afraid of me than I am of them. Wait, that's not
Yeah.
possible.
I mean, that's iffy, but no, they eat cockroaches and
Yeah, no, see they do the Lord's work.
yeah,
That's the thing. They do the Lord's work. That's why I don't want to hurt him. Like
yeah. It's
he's
like I
they're
keep
our
the orb
friends. They just
weavers
need to
around
stay
my
away from me.
like I keep the orb weavers around my house because I'm in the south and mosquitoes.
Oh,
So I'm like,
oh yeah.
by all means, spiders, do your
Yep.
thing.
Yep. I've learned to keep some around. But those big guys, I can't have them. But in Japan, the bugs here are crazy, and this is coming from somebody who was from the desert and has no idea what a bug even is. Living things, I have no idea what that means. I'm from Las Vegas, so animals? What?
I mean, I
Never
live in
heard
New
of them.
York, and so we've got brown
Oh.
recluses, we've got widows,
God.
we've got all sorts
Yeah,
of
we had
terrible,
widows.
horrible spiders that want to murder you.
Yeah. See, that's like my ultimate like Halloween ghosts ain't got nothing on like a black widow.
I mean, we have a bunch of poisonous snakes.
Yeah, the South does.
Yeah, because we have. I have come like when I was 7. I was walking up from the lake that was behind my house, and there was a 4-foot copperhead right in front of me.
Oh my
And
God.
I had other friends with me, and I was only 7, and I was just like, I'm gonna need you guys to stop walking. And they're like, what? Why? And I'm like, I'm gonna need you to stop walking. Like, do not shake the ground anymore, because it was staring at me. And I'm like, I'm gonna need you guys to go to the side and just go up toward the house. You know, like just
Mhm.
go over there. And they were like, what are you doing? And I'm like, please guys, I will explain later. Because I didn't want them freaking out and screaming and then
Yeah.
like the snake getting, because it was literally in lunging distance to me.
Oh
Like,
my
it's-
gosh, and you were 7, you said?
Yeah. Yeah.
You were amazing at 7.
Yeah, no,
Dang.
I was brave as a kid. I lost it when I got older, but as a kid, I had no comprehension of.
That's amazing.
But
You
so
didn't know
like,
better
yeah,
as a
even,
child.
like, yeah, I didn't know better. Like, I was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go down the creek for like 3 miles, even though there's like copperheads and cottonmouths around here. Who cares?
Jeez.
And I just didn't know better. Like I could have been kidnapped or killed so many times. But yeah, so like I made them back up, and then like I slowly backed up once they were far enough away. And because you know, like snakes don't super want to attack you, they're just going to do it if you annoy them.
I feel like it depends on
Yeah.
the snake. Some are just super
No.
aggressive.
Some are aggressive, but normally it's because you stepped your foot, like, and you almost stepped on them, and they're just like, "Screw you, dude."
Yeah, I mean,
You know,
yeah.
Yeah.
most don't actually like go like, "I'm gonna go hunt humans."
Yeah.
So like, yeah. So I slowly backed up, and then I went far away, and they're like, "What was that all about?" I'm like, there was like literally a snake about as tall as me in the grass in front of me, and I didn't think you guys wanted to meet it, and I definitely did not want to meet its face. So,
See, that's proper scary right there. Here's your scary story right there.
Oh, she's got scary stories.
I'm sure.
She doesn't think they're scary. In fact,
they're not scary.
okay, no, I guess they're not. They're paranormal.
Oh wow,
They're paranormal
Yeah.
stories. So I guess that's a
that
good
sounds
segue,
scary.
right? Like it's
Yep.
a good way to lead into that. So Brian, tell us your creepy story.
Well, like I said, they're not like creepy. I mean, I guess they'd be creepy maybe to other people, but when my first grandfather died, I, like the day after, had a dream where, and I've had it happen a few times when I've had really what I would call vivid dreams. I mean, I'm always a vivid dreamer, but these are dreams when you wake up, it's like you are remembering a memory, not like you're remembering a dream. Like it's a distinctly different feeling. And I had a dream and I saw him entering one of the houses that, they moved between two houses, and this one was in Florida, and they would do the Florida winter bird thing. And I saw him entering the house, and I was sleeping in the dream. I was sleeping in like a back room, but you know how in dreams you're kind of like omniscient time. I could see him entering through his garage door, and there were two men in the kitchen waiting for him because that's how it was laid out. And I could see them, quotation marks. And one of them was very tall and thin and kind of like it's not nice to say, but unattractive. He was not conventionally attractive. He had kind of like pock marks and stuff, Clearly had been through like, I don't know, some sort of, we would think they were acne marks now, but now we have like ways to treat them better. But and the other one was like a really kind of a rounder, heavyweight guy. But I remember the tall guy feeling like he just had this great personality. Like you would laugh just by being near him, just the type to bring joy to a room. And I remember feeling like I wanted to call him after my uncle Ron, who's also tall and thin and kind of has acne scars. But it was something about, I was like, it's his name isn't Ron, and I knew it wasn't Ron, but it was like something about the shortness of that name, the three-letter name, and I felt like that applied to both of the men. And um, so I, my grandfather came in to the room, and I distinctly remember the rounder guy going, "It's about time you got here, Don," because that was the name of my grand. And it's about time you got here, Don. You're late. And the other guy going, "What are you talking about? You've barely been here yourself. I've been waiting for all of you." And like they just were all laughing. It was like they were having a really good time. And then I remember I was struggling in the back room to try to wake up in the dream because I wanted to go see my grandpa so badly. I wanted to go give him a hug so badly. And I remember him coming to the door and his silhouette in the door in this, and him saying to me, "It's not time for you to be awake yet. You still have to sleep. But I love you." And that was like the end of the dream. So when I woke up, the feeling of it was like important. Like you have been, like someone told you to tell someone else something, right? It was that kind of feeling of like, yeah, they just told you to tell something else. Like you need to go like tell them, and it's a thing that happened. So I went to my mom and I was like, okay, this is gonna be weird, but um here's the characteristics of these men I saw in the dream. And I'm like, I have no idea who they are. And she's like, that is my cousin Joe. She was just like that, the tall thin man. Apparently he died in a post office accident. He was a postal worker and he got hit by a car. And he died about 30 years ago. And every single year he would play maybe 40 years ago. Jeez, like it was a long time ago. So I never knew him. He would every single year he would be Santa, even though he was thin and like he would like try to stuff pillows and like the Santa suit and stuff. And and she just like she was like everyone always found him hilarious. Everyone loved him, and my dad loved him as well. You know, and then I was like, okay, well, what about the more with round guy? Like, he felt a little overweight, and she's like, well, my Uncle Don just died last week. Which had been he had lived down the street from my grandfather, who was also Don. And they were incredibly close. Like they would always visit. But I didn't
Good
really
work,
know
soldier.
him because we didn't visit. That was in Iowa, and we didn't visit the Iowa as much. And yeah, so she could like everything I described, she could attach to people I did not know. And I hadn't really, I knew that I had had an uncle die, I mean, a great uncle die the week before, but I didn't really know any like details about who it was because it was my grandmother's brother. But so that was the first dream like I ever had of like it was like the message of like the other side.
So
Um
crazy.
but
That's so crazy. That's
it has
amazing. Oh
happened.
my god, that's so scary.
It was, it was like comforting because it was like I was seeing him completely at peace, and he did come to say he loved, you
Yeah,
know?
and it's not your time yet. That
Yeah,
was what
that like
sound
it's not
that was
your
like,
time to
"Whoa,
wake up.
sugars."
Like
Yeah.
that was what was stuck with me the most was like it's not your time to wake up. It's just death is waking up and
Yeah,
not,
that's
you know,
crazy. That's
um
such an interesting way to look at it too, that death is you waking up instead of the other way around, you know?
yeah, because we always view it as like the end and going to sleep, and no, you just are waking something up.
So
Um
interesting.
and then so then that that one, so that happened, and then it was a few years before my other grandfather died. That was my dad's father. And in that one was just much more like I was less attached in that particular dream. But I saw him coming home to and I actually had it the night he died. I didn't know it was the night he died. But when my mom woke me up the next morning, she says, "Bethany, I have to," and I'm like, "He's dead." Um, because I just knew, like, it was just something I knew. But like I saw him getting, like, as if he was going home to a farm, and for some reason there was only like women at the farm. Like they were like, I don't
Hmm.
like they were setting out like white tablecloths on picnic tables outside, right? And they were cooking and they were like, it was just cheerful and like, but it seriously felt like it was just, the women are in control here, deal with it, you know? um, and then like one of them broke off and it felt like she is seriously like the matriarch of this group. Like she is the cornerstone of this group. And she came to the gate to meet my grandfather, and he was passing by golden like fields, and I felt like it was some sort of golden plant. I didn't know if it was barley or wheat or what. But I could see I could see the entire layout of the farm. Like I knew what this farm looked like. I could see the grain silo type thing, and or maybe it was a water tower. I don't actually know anything about farms. um but she greeted him, and I remember him saying to her, like, she was like, "Oh," like, she's like, "You've taken your precious time. Why are you late?" And he was just like, "Well, you know that woman of mine, she would have been able to stand it if I left early." And the thing is, my grandfather was a complete smartass. Um, his wife was a completely independent one. But he would always make jokes like that. He would make sarcastic jokes. Like my last time talking to him, he made sarcastic jokes about grandma, and um, and she would always just like kind of roll her eyes, or before he got sick, she would smack him or get huffy with him. That was just their relationship. And I talked to my grandmother a week later, and I said, this is going to be weird, and I'm really sorry if I'm out of place for this. But what did they grow on Grandpa's farm when he was going out? And she's like, they grew wheat. Like that was the primary crop. And I'm like, so the fields would have been mostly like golden, like actually like golden, like because you have to realize around here we grow a lot of corn and that sort of thing. So my instinct isn't to think wheat with golden. But in this one, I felt like this is wheat or barley or something. And just something that was growing that was different. And she was like, "Yeah, no, they grew wheat," and I'm like, "Does it make sense if I said there was a gateway and this like really strong matriarch of a woman greeting?" And she's like, his mother could take charge of an entire city if she wanted to." She was just like, everyone did what she said, and she was loving and kind and joking, but everyone always did what she said. And I told her what he said about like that woman couldn't stand to lose me earlier or whatever. And she just laughed and she's like, "Yeah, no, that's what you described was his home." Um, there was a gate that you would have greeted somebody at, and there was the balcony I had, like the not balcony, porch that I had seen them coming out of, like that sort of thing. So I knew like that one she had confirmed, and um, she actually what surprised me was she was not insulted by me sharing this with her. She wasn't just like, "What are you talking about?" It was like she just very much accepted immediately, and she was not the type of personality to accept that. Um, but she did. In that case, it really surprised me. I figured people would get mad at me for saying this because very conservative family. Um, and then my my grandmother to the first grandfather, when she died, I didn't have a dream about her till about 2 weeks after she died, and it was the week of my sister's wedding, which we always believed my grandma was trying to make it to and just couldn't. Um, and that dream was just very simple. The entire time, my grandmother had this personality of like, "I'm just ready to go home. Like, I don't want to, I don't want to be you anymore, you know." And in the dream, she met me with this bouquet of what I had to look up later because it was a flower I did not recognize. But they were uh, garaberas. They were yellow with a big black center, but not sunflowers. It was like I think they're a type of daisy. And she told me to tell my sister that she was proud of her and she hoped it would go well, but that she just really didn't have time to hang around. She really wanted to get home and be with Don, and that she loved all of us. And that one was actually weirdly in like an airport like setting, and she was like taking a different flight. because we had to take a flight to go out to the wedding. But she was like taking a different flight to go away. So that one was just like a short, like quick message of like, no, things are fine. I just want you to share this with your sister, and like tell her that like I'm giving my blessing to the wedding. I'm out of here, you know.
Wow.
And I looked it up later, like because I'm huge into Victorian I'm huge into like Victorian flower meaning, and the Garabera means beauty and happiness and cheerfulness, and like the idea that you shouldn't be stressed. And that's surprised, like like it was just like so. It was like it was directly like a message for my sister, and I was just supposed to. The weirdest one, like those were all like detailed, and then like so for my last grandparent, because I have had it for each grandparent, she waited, geez, 4 months after her death. And the thing is, I had gone to visit her about 2 weeks before she died, and I have an anxiety disorder. I don't like traveling. I don't like going into the airport or whatever, but I got over it and traveled alone down to Tennessee, and to visit her because that's where she was staying with my aunt. And she pulled me aside in that conversation and was like, "The next time I see you, I'll be in heaven. So don't worry about anything else. I'm just glad to see you now." Which was her like way of giving me permission not to go up to the funeral in Michigan and that sort of thing, because I don't like funerals. I hate funerals. But it was like she was giving me permission beforehand of like, don't, just she didn't like directly say that, but it was her way. And like everyone, like all my siblings and then my aunt and uncle were all giving me really dark looks. Like they think I brought up her death, and I did not. She brought it up. So that was the last visit. And she and I said goodbye or whatever. So like at first I felt like I wasn't gonna get a dream from her, because it was like, well, she told me like she wasn't gonna like send me a dream. Like that's what it felt like. It was like I wasn't going to get it. This is the one related to the grandfather who was on the farm. And then 4 months later, I had a dream in March. And it was like I was in some sort of old-fashioned house. Like, it was almost like Victorian, but it felt a little older fashioned than that. And I could see my grandmother moving through the house, and it definitely wasn't her house, but she was moving through the house, and she was like writing out like details of like what sort of thing was going to go to what child and what grandchild, right? Like scribbling on boxes and stuff like that, name. And I hadn't gotten my inheritance from her at this point, like yet. And because my dad still had it all. And the first thing is like when I got my inheritance, there was actually a box in her handwriting saying to my name, of like stuff that she knew that like I loved playing with at her house, decorations, Christmas that I loved playing with at her house when I was little. So she like in the dream, I actually have the copy of the conversation I had with my then boyfriend about this. Because I was just like, this is the details of the dream, and I just want to get it out because it feels like it's important to like get these details out. And I was just like, and so she had written down, she had literally written on the back, who was getting what. Like she was making, like she was at peace enough with death that she didn't want to die. Like there was no like she wasn't like my grandmother, where she was just my other grandmother, who was just like, I want to go home. Like my dad's mom was a strong woman, and she was just very much like, well, I guess this cancer is killing me. This sucks, you know. So she was just like, she was prepared for it, but she wasn't giving into it easily. And I remember in that dream, like I was going through a really rough time at that time, and she just pulled me into her arms and gave me a hug, and I was sobbing in her arms. And then she said, "Okay, but there's something I need to show you. It's really important." And I was just like, "Okay." And she pulled me downstairs to this room, and it was like as if a room was taken out of a museum, but like in a tiny like closet space, right? It was like very small room, and it was just like a room that I knew was like focused on one woman, and I didn't. And I thought like that's weird. There was like details about this woman that she was someone who like owned land or was of some important lineage or something. And my grandmother was like, "You need to find her in our lineage. You need to find her. She's important." And I was just like, "How am I supposed to like?" Because my grandmother had always done like um uh had tried to keep track of the family tree, in her life, and I had all of her I was the only grandchild that had all of her documents. And I was just like, how am I supposed to find this? And she's like, I don't know, here's the information. And it felt like it felt like grandma was saying the things I was doing, like with marking down the children's names, like the record keeping, was really important. Like that this was also something tied to this woman. And she's like, trust me, you will know her when you find her. And it was like it was like that grandmother came back just to make me do homework, essentially. Um, but so I was just like, I don't. Okay, I mean, like I'll do my best, and that was basically all the dream was just like, first of all, like her giving me the encouragement hug, but then like being like, I want you guys to find this, and I was like, okay, I'm like, no idea how I'm gonna find this. And then my dad, for some reason, got into researching the genealogy of his family a little bit, and he stumbled across like this one family tree, and I was bored one night, and I went further, and I found a woman named Eulalia who lived in the 1700s, or maybe the 1600s. Um, but she was like one of the first uh she was one of the first yeah, no, yeah. She was in the 1600s, so I had to look it up. She they were literally in the first 10 years of settling America type thing. And her husband was nominated to be the clerk of the town. And I actually found her will that her last will and testament, which was kind of unusual for a woman to even leave at the time. In which she methodically goes through and names like, this bed is going to this child, this bronze kettle is going to this child. And at the time, like she named like a green apron, and you have to remember this is like the Puritan times, so like having colored items was rare. And like bronze kettles were important enough that Native Americans would trade with them and bury them with their dead as a precious item. And because they were rare for the people living in the colonies at the time. And she was listing all this off, and she maintained several lands that had to have like legal fights. And I looked down her family tree, and like one branch of her family tree literally leads to Winston Churchill. And so like, and I found a book actually written at a reunion for that side of the family tree, and they talk about her being like the ultimate matriarch. and all of that. And I was just like, oh, I'm like I think this is her. Like it felt like the entire time was her. And then I saw her maiden name, and remember the month I told you that this dream occurred was in March. Her middle name, her maiden name was March with an E on
Whoa.
it. And like I literally had the messages I sent to my messages because I forwarded them on to my sister after I'd written them, and it's 3/21/2017. So it was March. So I'm like, I didn't make that up, but her middle name was Eulela, and then it was March. It was her maiden name. And so yeah, that one was like, it's like my grandmothers just came to give like messages, while my grandfathers came to give reassurances. Like sort of like, we're fine, you know. Well, like my grandmothers were like, nope, nope, we have something to tell you, and then we have to get something done, and we're getting out of here. I'm like, it's good. But yeah, so that's the that's the story.
That's crazy. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. That's
I
so
mean,
amazing. Like chills.
I mean, well, that's why like I said, like they're not like, I mean, like they are paranormal, but they're not scary because
They're not scary.
they were reassurances, and yeah, they all had their own, you
Dude,
know.
her story is so nice and wholesome.
Yeah.
She knows what story I'm telling. Mine isn't.
No, yours isn't, dude.
My story also involves spirits.
I mean, it does. I mean, I feel like that's why I've never actually had a ghost message. Because it's just like, I feel like number one, like these are proof that I can actually have some form of communication. And I was a history major, so a ghost messing with me is just asking for trouble. Like I would be like, "Oh, good, I have you here. Now tell me everything." Like, they would just be like, "Oh my god, no, avoid her, avoid her. She's not gonna leave us alone. We basically have to write like theses for her."
I
Because I would totally.
suppose this segue into my creepy. Yeah. Follow.
Yeah, I don't know what Kim Cheese is.
Yeah.
I have a few.
Okay. That's fine. But we'll segue into mine since mine is relatively short. It's not a big long one. Just one. It is probably I like again, I don't know Kim Cheese's either, but like of the three that we're gonna get so far, mine's probably the creepier of the three.
Like
Yeah, because the
that
universe hates
extreme.
you.
Yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong. I just I don't want to admit that because that's just depressing. Um yeah, so
Well, it didn't kill you.
it didn't kill me. The year I don't actually
Unless it
remember.
did, and we're talking to a ghost right now.
Yeah, it could be. I don't. That would explain a lot. Oh no, see, I get paid still, so no. Five. They'll give me money. I still show up to work and they give me money, so.
It's like those movies that start at the end and the narrator's already there and you're like, "Oh, okay, well, you don't die."
Or do you?
Maybe.
Yeah. So this has got to be like mid to late 2000s, right? Like I already graduated back home, so it's got to be like 2008, 2009 ish, probably. I don't remember exactly when, but um, a friend of my mother's, and so I don't know how familiar any of you are with like the Capital District. Weird eclectic mix of like modern houses built like 70s and 80s, like historical, old houses. Weird range of like housing that's just somewhere in between. And she had moved into this apartment that had obviously been at some point like a turn of the century style house. They had converted into like a upper and lower like apartment complex. Um, so I was helping her move her stuff. I was gonna stay the night. Um, I didn't really think anything of the house. It looked kind of like the houses that I was used to in the area around that part of the city. Kind of old, kind of run down. Everything was wood. And they had this, like, converted sort of the back portion of the house into like how you would access the basement to be the laundry area and to go upstairs into the attic. Um, it was obviously once upon a time one single structure. They kind of had to like remodel it to make it so that you could have privacy in your individual floor, but still access everything. So there was this like really crappy, like super skinny, like effectively it was like a servant's stairwell. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with like houses and how like houses of like the era that built, but basically they're these crappy, really tiny, really short stairs that like you ever actually had to use them, they're terrible. They're absolutely terrible.
Kimchi would know about that.
But like there was this like servant style stairwell like up in the attic and down in the basement. So I was helping move boxes in the attic. So, I didn't think anything of it at first other than the fact that, it sucks. So I'm moving boxes up there, and like the first time I go up there, I gotta open it, like I go up in the attic, and so it's pretty spacious. It looks like at one point the attic was like living, because like it was not just bare, rafters. It's actually like hospitable to a certain extent. And when I go up there and I'm putting the boxes down, like there's this like as I come up the stairwell, like to the right, effectively down to like the far end building, I noticed that like they had sectioned off the attic into rooms. Like presumably at some point, either like it was actual living space or they just had made it nice for some reason. Either way, like at the very far end, there's this little tiny alcove is kind of almost what it was. It's like a little tiny room that, if we're being honest, turn of the century is probably like a servant's room. So it's like way too small to be an actual person's room, way too big to be like a storage area. So it's like this really tight, cramped, unpleasant space. And the door's open. Like all the doors to the attic are open. But like my attention's drawn to like the far end and the tiny and like weird. And like when I look at the room, like the initial thought in my mind is like, that's uncomfortable, but there's not really a context to why it's uncomfortable. See the room, just like, weird. And I don't really think about it again as I go back downstairs. So I grab the next box, and I start going back up to the attic. I get up, a bit up the attic. I realize that the door to the attic has been shut. However, I didn't hear it close because really I just go down the stairwell and there's like boxes there, and then to go back up. So like I'm maybe 10 feet away from the door. I didn't hear it shut. It is now shut. I'm like, okay, well, that's like my first thought is like, well, that's inconvenient because I'm carrying boxes. Like, oh, well, it's like, oh, great. I was like, whatever. So I push it open.
Wow, supernatural being, you're so rude.
But it's like that. Like that's my initial response. It's like, wow, this is kind of inconvenient. I'm carrying a box, so like, sucks. So like, I had to like lean against the wall, like bouncing on the crappy ass like tiny stairwell, which is like barely big enough for my feet, like turned to the side, and like I gotta like balance like the box and like push the door open, whatever. And like, I put the box down, and my attention gets drawn to the room again. Like weird. Like the room is just weird. And so I go back downstairs, pick up another box, go upstairs, door is closed again. Like I'm leaving the door open. Like every time I go downstairs, by the time I'm back up, the door is now closed. Just like this is really annoying. I probably should have, but I didn't, because in my mind I'm just like, I'm moving shit. So like I don't, whatever. Stuff is going where it's supposed to go. But like, I keep doing this. Like I go downstairs, pick up a box, come upstairs, the door is closed. Door, put down the box, go downstairs, pick up a box, come back upstairs, the door is closed. And like, every time I do this, like, it is becoming more and more uncomfortable feeling in the attic. Like, I'm inconvenienced. Like, the initial thought on my mind is like, man, that's inconvenient. But like every time I go up there, it becomes more and more uncomfortable up there. And every time I go up there, I keep getting drawn back to that corner of the building. Like, that corner of the building, every time I look, becomes slightly more uncomfortable. The attic itself is like I don't feel like I'm supposed to be there. That room in particular, like, keeps catching my eye and keeps drawing my attention to it, and it just keeps making me like I shouldn't be there. So there weren't a whole lot of boxes. I think I made maybe a total of like 10 trips. That wasn't. Um, but obviously, like by the end of it, like I really didn't be in that attic anymore. Like stuff just went where it was, and like, alright, I'm done. That's it. I don't really think about it. Like it is an uncomfortable room, and it's like I don't live there, so I don't really have to think about it. So it's like it's just not my problem. Effectively, like, it's just like whatever. Um, but my mother hears about it. Like I do eventually tell her, like, when I get home. And so, you know, my mother has a conversation with her friends, and I guess she brings it up to her friend. Now, like I know a lot of people don't believe in it. I get it. But my mother's friend is like a holistic and spiritual person. She believes that she can speak to ghosts. Like it's a thing that she can speak to spirits, not specifically just ghosts, but like spirits. Like she can talk to like like nature spirits. That is her belief. And so when my mother brings up the attic, mother's sort of like a holistic. Well, like she thought it was worth mentioning. She tells it to her friend, and now if people who are like into ghosts and spirits are talking about ghosts and spirits, usually they're just like, oh yeah, it's a ghost, blah blah blah, whatever. So what was really, I guess, telling about this conversation is that my mother's friend, she hears this story. Her response is kind of unusual in the sense that she just kind of goes, "Oh yeah, that door is supposed to stay closed. Don't worry about it."
What?
I,
What?
I still think the person who owned that house is an asshole. I don't.
Well, I mean, she was renting it. Like it's not her
Okay, well,
building, but like she rented it. So like she wouldn't go into it. So like obviously in her mind, like there was something wrong. And like even my mother was like, "Wait, what does that mean?" And the explanation basically was, "It's fine. Don't worry about it. The door is supposed to be closed." The implication is that she went and she closed the door. The door is supposed to stay closed, and it stays closed. So don't worry about it as long as the door is closed. Like, well, I mean, I was up there and the door was closed, so like maybe I should be worried about it, but fine, thanks. Okay, whatever. Cool. I'm not living there, so I don't care anymore. Fine. And theoretically that should be the end of it, right? Like I don't live there. I didn't go up into the attic. Like the implication basically was like, if you're not in the attic, it's fine. Whatever. It's supposed to
I'm
be
glad you didn't go up into the attic.
it or into that room.
Yeah.
because you were in the attic, weren't you? Like,
Yes, several times.
yeah. Like,
Oh yeah,
I
that's
think
right. You
went to
were.
the
So wait,
attic.
wait.
Yeah, like I didn't have to go to that corner of the attic at least.
Yeah. Oh my
Um,
god.
but like, I guess the implication was like basically as long as you don't go into that room, you're fine. As long as you stay out of the attic, it's not gonna bother you. But I was up there.
It's
Cool,
not gonna bother you.
cool, I guess. Um, like I think I had only gone back to that building like once or twice, and then, like into the attic, right? Like I needed. It's not my stuff. It's not my house. But you're like a couple years back, she moved out of the city, And I guess my mother decided like she was gonna ask about the house. And like obviously the topic of the mysterious attic came up. And again, she really wouldn't talk about what it was. So like the only thing she said in regard to like the question of the attic was to the effect of, "They're gone now. It's fine."
What?
I feel like this is a D&D game and your mom just rolled a 1 on the check information.
Yeah.
And this is the DM's response. Like, that's all she's getting.
Yeah, like she wouldn't elaborate further on what it was, and I'm like, not like so. This is a woman who has like all sorts of. She gets told things supposedly by like the spirit. Like there is a spirit that she consults, guide her on things. Tends to listen to, but acknowledges like she has supposedly asked the spirit outright. This unrelated spirit basically like gives her advice, but then she always has to ask like, "Do you have my best interests?" Say this, and they'll sometimes just be like, "No." She'll have to decide if she's going to listen to what I told her or not.
Aww.
But like, so this is a woman who has like stories like that, and then so about whatever this was in the attic, just will not elaborate. So that's my ghost story.
That's scary.
Okay.
That's like straight up scary.
Like,
But
I
you
would
don't
be
have to
incredibly
worry.
worried that it wasn't closed when you were up there. Like, I've thought about this since you told me the story a couple weeks ago. And it was okay, so the door was not closed when you were up there, and then it's gone now. Are you sure it didn't go with you?
No, no,
Because
no,
that
no.
can
Like it was
happen.
there, and like this was years later. Like
Are
it
you?
was a
Did you actually ask her for a timeline?
yes. Like
Oh, you did.
it was implied that it was sometime after she had moved in that like it had chosen to part. Like it wasn't just like it had left the building. Like it had moved on.
Not if she just said they're gone now. That's not what that means, Seiji. That's not what those words mean.
That was sort of the implication, but yes, you are
You
correct.
no, you're hoping that was an implication. You are hoping.
I don't know. Maybe I have a creepy ghost
they're,
following me now. I don't know.
they're gone now does not actually mean it was peaceful or a witness or anything. That just means once they were there and now they are not, and in some time frame that changed.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. I think.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I have a ghost following me. It wouldn't be. Also, I feel like if that was true, I would be weirded out in my own house way more than I am. Ever.
Not yet.
I mean, it's been a long time.
I mean, maybe
That's
it's
true,
just.
that's true.
Are you sure you're not just mistaking your normal existential dread with the weirded outness?
Yeah, because I don't feel uncomfortable anywhere part of my house.
Man, I feel uncomfortable in my own skin. I don't know what that's like.
Yeah.
Can't relate.
Yeah, I can't relate. I spend every day afraid that the huntsman spider's gonna come back, so.
I mean, my house was built in like the 70s, so like my house isn't exactly super old, and like the probability of it being an Indian burial ground is pretty much zero. It's not impossible, but like
No, ghosts are totally able to get a. I'm okay. Number one, I'm gonna say it, like, I'm not a huge advocate of believing in ghosts, but like by the rules of ghostdom, they can get attached to things
oh,
and
absolutely.
just
No,
come with the things and with people. They don't need to like be on the property already.
no,
They
like
can just be like,
I understand that, right? Like, but like my ghost itself, like the potential of the ghost, right? Like if this is a story, like it's a ghost that's following me, right? It was never implied that the ghost had gone after I had left, right? Like the implication was that it was still there. Just don't go up there. Doors closed. Don't worry about it.
I mean, like,
So
maybe the ghost is just not creeping you out because like it finally got out of the cramped servants' room that apparently they just shut the door on it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like maybe it's just like, oh no, in this new house I can go wherever I want and like watch TV and gaming channels. This is great, and this woman isn't trying to talk to me.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I don't have creepy ghost things in my house though. The closest thing I have to creepy behavior is that like part of my area that I live in is underground because the house is on a hill. Like I'm technically in a basement, but it's not really a basement. Not fully underground. It's like a subfloor. Like my kitchen is technically against the outside like exterior wall, and I can hear animals against the building.
Yeah,
Are you sure they're animals?
Sure. Quote unquote.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Famous last
that's the
words?
creepiest thing in my house. Just like I can hear animals digging, because like there's holes. Like you can see the holes like in the ground. Like it would be the other side of the wall.
Can you see the animals that made those holes?
I mean, not specifically, but we have snakes, moles, and rabbits like that are running around the yard. So like any one of them is most likely.
I mean, I like how you're like excluding snakes and stuff from being willing to work for a ghost or in the vicinity of a ghost. Like those aren't typically animals that are like, you know what, I'm not chill with ghosts. Like cats usually aren't chill with ghosts. And dogs aren't chill with ghosts, but like
I don't know. I feel
snakes
like
and stuff are totally fine.
I feel like if anything's haunting me, it's one of my pet dogs that has passed since like 30 years of my life.
Well, why would your dog haunt you? Wait.
Because the dogs like to hang out with me. It was a thing. Like they would always just like huddle up near me. So like if
Because
one
they
of them,
loved you. They're not
Yes.
gonna haunt you.
well, I mean maybe they don't want to come back and live here. I don't know. I'm just saying. Like, if anyone was gonna hang around, it'd be one of them.
Watch it be like the servant ghost cuddling.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, that's my story. It was a far departure from Bray's story. I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
So if you ever want to come up to this part of New York, I guess there's a lot of the old houses.
Following the theme of New England being creepy.
Yeah, Kimchi, what's your stories?
Well, I will start off by saying that I Googled huntsman spiders, and
Why would you do that?
I regret that decision.
Why would you do that? I'm so sorry. I thought I made it clear they're horrible.
Just a big,
was just,
scary
you know,
spider. It's fine.
It's one of those things, right? You're like drawn to like, I know
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
probably a bad idea, but I really want to know.
I apologize. I really apologize. I put you through that.
I would say the spiders. I'm not a fan of spiders or snakes, and the spiders, not the snakes, the spiders that live in my house, and I have an arrangement. They don't come within 3 feet of me, and I
Yep.
don't kill them.
Yep.
And that's that's basically. I don't do spiders in my car because basically I can't.
That's way
I
too
have to
close.
get them out of my car because if they crawl on me while I'm driving, someone's gonna die.
Yeah.
So I once killed a spider in my car with sunscreen because that's the only thing I had in my car.
Oh my god, we're like kindred spirits.
I was like, it's one of those little jumpy ones. I can't get
Oh
it.
no, I can't with
It's
those.
Oh,
I can't
oh.
with those.
fast, right? And
I cannot with those.
Get it. So it crawled into a corner. I just grabbed sunscreen and like covered that corner with sunscreen. I think it died. I don't know. I'm just gonna assume it died. That is not my creepy story. That was total.
That's creepy. Being alone in a car with a spider is plenty
Yeah,
creepy in my
yeah.
mind. So
I'm just more worried I'm gonna end up in a car accident because of it.
yeah, no, because it'd freak you. I'm 100% behind you there. That's scary to me.
Okay, so I'm gonna start by sharing not my stories, but stories from my family for when we stayed a week in a haunted house.
What?
Why would you do that?
Okay. Why would you do that?
So actually, It was my aunt's house. We were staying there. We were visiting them in Virginia. Back when they lived there. They don't anymore. So we were staying for about like a little less than a week, and we were doing a lot of sightseeing in the area. So almost everyone in my family had an experience in that house, except for me. I don't know if it was because I'm a heavy sleeper and the ghost just couldn't wake me up, or if it was because I was staying in the room where all the hamsters were, and maybe they scare ghosts. I don't know, but it's the scritching, right? So ghosts just
Hamsters
don't
are
bother
OP,
them.
please know.
So I'll start with my sister's story because it's like the least exciting, I guess. Her story really was just that she was staying in the room with my cousin, and they kept being woken up at night because the lights would turn on by themselves and then turn back off and then turn back on. So I'm like totally phasmophobia there. But that was her report. And then my mom's report, she and my dad were staying on the pull-out couch back when they still had those in the living room. And my mom said that she woke up one night because something was tugging on her big toe.
Nope.
And she woke up because she thought maybe it was like, one of her kids coming up and like, I had a nightmare, in a haunted house, who would have nightmares. So she looked and there was nobody at the foot of the bed, but the blanket that was covering her feet had been folded up to like leave her feet bare.
Oh no!
And,
Nope.
I
not-
always have to have my
not
feet
like-
covered.
I know it's one of my nightmares too, but like not like scrunched up. Like she just kicked it. It was like folded neatly. Like you have to grab the bottom corner of the blanket and like fold it up.
No.
So it was
Ew,
folded.
no.
So she fixed the blanket, went back to bed. I don't remember if she had like a
Wow.
but that was
Brave.
that was her thing. Maybe she like pulled her feet up. I don't know. My
Way too
dad
brave.
sleeping right next to her, just like me. I don't know if he just slept through it. Maybe the ghost tried for him first and didn't wake him up. And then my brother, his story. So he was staying in we have 3 cousins. He was staying in the middle cousin's room. And he woke up because he felt like someone had just sat down on the edge of the bed next to him. So he woke up, he didn't see anybody. He kind of like drifted back off to sleep, but then he felt it again and he woke up and he saw a soldier in full Civil War uniform. And he said, I kind of thought maybe I was just dreaming. So he went sort of like back to sleep or like rolled over, like pretending this was not happening. And he said he felt like someone had put a hand on his back and pressed down, like they were leaning on him to look out the window next to the bed. And then it like went away, and when he looked, there was nothing there.
Oh my god.
So that was his story. I was the only one who was kind of, oh, I guess the ghosts don't want to talk to me. So,
You act like that's a bad thing?
I mean, I think if I'd had an experience and I was in that room by myself, except the hamsters, I think I would have been sleeping on the couch or something. Like I would not stay by myself in the room.
Yeah.
So
Definitely not.
I think that I was like in high school. I think when that, or like roughly 14 or 15 when that happened. So let me see what else. Cut forward quite a few years, and like a couple years ago, we started traveling. Back when you could travel, and
I don't
we
remember.
went.
Man, that's a whole like
Yeah.
another spooky idea. What?
Yeah.
Your house.
Travel. Never heard of that.
So we would go on trips with my sister-in-law and her family, and one of the trips we went to was Yellowstone. And total side comment, speaking of bears, I'm not a fan of bears either, especially not, I'm going to be walking in the woods and I might come in contact with a grizzly bear. So we
Yeah,
sat
no.
down.
I don't want to like run into contact with the grizzly bear, but like when I went to college, we had brown or black bears. I don't remember which. And
Brown bears are the bad ones.
well, I think they were brown. But they a mom had her 3 cubs and just chilling on the front of our dorm lawn.
Oh, jeez.
So they had to prop open the emergency door so we could enter, so none of us would actually like have to get too close to the bears.
Crazy.
And then a couple nights later, my roommate, well, not my roommate, my friend from the floor, and I went down to walk down to get food from the cafeteria, and I heard a noise above me, and I look up, and one of the cubs is literally on a branch above me, like above my head, like on the walkway. And I was just like, I really should have moved away from this branch in case the mom comes back, because he's adorable, but she's not. And yeah, no, apparently the school campus police had to come out because kids decided to pick on a baby bear.
Jesus.
Do
That's a
that.
bad plan.
You guys deserve it. Like, you
Yeah,
Darwin
actually-
awards if that bear takes you out now. Like you jerks. It was a baby cub. It was adorable.
In my college, I went to college in the South, and there was an alligator, or I guess a crocodile. I don't know which one.
Oh.
But just hanging out in the schoolyard, and basically, like there's like a little like not crick or something like that, but like near the school, people would feed him hamburgers.
Sure, why not?
Just why
I don't know how
not?
you
Yeah.
want to teach
You know,
the alligator
I'm
that it should come towards humans.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I saw him too. He was there just hanging out.
So in Yellowstone, you can rent bear spray because we can just give these cans of bear spray to a bunch of tourists and like nothing will go wrong.
Nothing would
So
ever
we
go wrong
absolutely
there.
rented one. I was like, we're not going anywhere without this. Like, I want to see a bear, but from a distance in my car, like safely away. So we would start yelling like, "Hey bear!" As we're walking down the trail. At some point, we started yelling "potato." I'm not really sure why or where that came from, but that was our thing. And at one point, we rounded a corner in the trail, and there was a sign posted on a tree with like a big bear symbol, and it was like, "Warning: bears, grizzlies have been spotted in this area in the past day, like the past 24 hours." And we all looked at my husband, whose job was he was the one who had the bear spray. And he's like, "Oh, I left it in the car."
Oh,
God.
And we were
you
like,
had one job.
Exactly.
You had one job.
So we were all like, "Someone get sticks." Just bang sticks the whole time. We did not actually run into any bears, though, despite all the signs. We kept hearing stories about how the bears would show up in places we had just been. So they were like following us around, but we never saw a bear.
I feel like that's more
What?
concerning. Like the fact that like the bears were in fact there.
They were
You just
there.
never got to see them.
Just stalking.
Ninja bears.
We did see wolves, but also from a distance. So that was kind of.
I'm kind of jealous though.
But
I low-key want to see wolves. And
it was,
I wouldn't mind seeing a bear if it was from far away. I'm weird and I actually like snakes. Unless they're poisonous, but
See,
So, like,
I
I like-
went up around all the snakes are poisonous here. So, I just have a very. I don't mind big. Give me a boa constrictor. I'm fine holding one.
yeah.
no, I can't. I'm very like.
Well,
really
I don't
don't-
want you like wrapping it around me and giving it a chance to squeeze the life out of me. But like, if like 2 people are holding it, I'm fine holding the other side.
I had a 14-foot Burmese python around my neck once. When I was like 14.
Like I've had it resting on the back of my neck, not around my neck.
Yeah, it was around my neck. It was crazy. But in hindsight, why would you do that 14-year-old girl? Whatever. But I have a thing. Here's my thing. I'm cool with anything that has 4 legs or less. Anything with 4 legs or more. Sorry, I don't like you. And that's just it.
That's a good.
That's my
policy.
rule.
I did have to put my hand between a snake that was about to strike and a kid once who has
Oh my
cancer.
God.
And I'm deathly afraid of snakes, but I was watching like 3-year-olds who don't know better.
Oh,
And this
yeah.
one kid had found, it was like a baby snake. It wasn't that big of a deal. But he had cornered it and it was rearing back and it was about to like get him. So I just like shot my hand between the snake and the kid. And then I grabbed the kid and was like, we're leaving.
How do you do that?
It's a snake. Don't bother
Brother's
the snake.
tiny dog.
Yeah. So
Minpin.
you just do what you do, you know, like, I don't know. I think afterwards I probably had a panic attack, but at the time it was like,
I had to, speaking of things that like they're creepy that you don't want to ever have to touch or get your hand near. I used to work at a natural history museum. And this is when I was like 14. That's where the Burmese python was. And as part of the like initiation, I volunteered there because I wanted, when I was younger, I wanted to be a marine biologist or a biologist or something like that. And volunteering there, the final like thing you had to do is you had to touch some of the creepy crawlies. You know where this is going. So I had to. They had to like, someone had to hold my hand and like force my hand into it, but I had to touch a tarantula and I had to touch a Madagascar hissing cockroach.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was the worst, and yes, it did make the freaking sound.
Same camp counselor job. We had a nature person come with like all, you know, they come with all the animals and he's like, oh,
Yeah.
there's nothing to be afraid of, right? And then he just like walks up to me and puts one of those cockroaches in my hand.
Oh God,
And
I would have thrown it.
I would have thrown it
I
at
was like,
him.
okay, well, I
Yeah.
can't throw this because I don't want to
Yeah.
hurt the animal and I don't want to
Yeah, exactly,
kids,
but
so I'm just gonna sit here with this thing in my hand, but please take it back. All right,
Ugh.
so ghost stories. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like this is creepy too.
it is pretty creepy.
Different kind of creepy.
All right, so there's a hotel in Yellowstone, like close to the center, I think. It's called the Lake Hotel. And it's right on like the giant lake. And it's very old building. Like if you walk in there, it's beautiful, but it also is like, this is definitely haunted, right? Like you just walk in and you're like, this is such an old building. Like there's gotta be ghosts. And we weren't staying there. We only went there to get dinner, check out the gift shop, and keep moving. And they have these like public restrooms on the first floor. And so we're all taking our break, and I came back out into the hallway, and I walked straight into this like really cold spot. And I remember thinking, there's something else in like this hallway. Like you just have that feeling, like there's something off. Like there's like, I didn't see anything, but most of my experiences come from like feelings, like a sensation. And it was definitely like, I just feel like there's this off. This hallway's weird. This hallway's off. And then so I came back out to the lobby, and I was talking, and then my sister-in-law came back out. And she's like, "Guys, I just had the weirdest experience." I was like, "Was it in the hallway?" And she's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yeah, I had this weird experience." And then we looked up the history, and it turns out there's a little boy ghost who frequents that hallway,
Oh.
theoretically, and especially likes to go into the men's bathroom and like play tricks on people, which I think is pretty rude. But he likes that hallway. Like he runs up and down the hallway. People hear footsteps and giggling and things like that. So we're like, well, we're glad we're not staying here. Like, let's just keep moving.
I
So
feel
that
like
was,
that was such a teacher thing for you to say.
oh, that it was rude.
You're like, they just go into the bathrooms and play pranks, and that was just really weird.
Listen,
Like he's
man.
dead. I don't.
That doesn't
I mean, if
excuse
you're
rude
gonna play jokes
behavior.
on somebody, that's
just give
like
him-
the
I'll
worst
just,
place to play them.
I'll just walk up and down the hallway giving my teacher look, you know, like you behave.
You're in trouble, young man. You're gonna get extra homework.
Okay, so my last story, which is more of a direct experience, it still is, it's debatable. I'll let you guys judge. Same sister-in-law. We were now visiting her in California, and she told us she's just like me. When I first met her, was at a wedding, and this particular wedding had a map on display in the hotel of all the ghost sightings on Cape Cod, and both of us were like totally zeroed in and fascinated. Like Ray can attest, I like ghost hunting even if I don't see anything. So she zeroed right in on it, I zeroed right on it, and we're like, oh, we're gonna get along really well. So she told us about this Toys R Us that is out in that area that is supposed to be very, very haunted, like one of the most haunted places.
Wait. Which part
A
of Cape
Toys R
Cod?
Us.
It's somewhere in California. She lives in like in the Palo Alto area, so it'd be like sort of in that area.
Okay.
It wasn't close by, I don't think. I think we had to drive a little ways to get there. But so things like things like toys get set off by themselves, like the ones that make noise or fall off the shelves, or cold spots, or like the water in the bathroom will start running on itself. There's like just all these different things. So of course we're like, we should go. we should like, let's go. Let's see if we see anything and let's check it out. So we get into the Toys R Us, and of course we also had the kids with us. So it's like, let's go use them
Let's
as
get
an
my
excuse.
kids possessed. It's great.
We're gonna use the kids as an excuse. Like, yeah, we're gonna go look for toys. We're really looking for ghosts. And also satisfying the inner child, because it's a big toy store. Like, it's got cool stuff. So we decided at one point to split up. And
always a bad idea.
I wandered into the baby area that has like all the cribs on display. So it's just like this kind of sea of cribs. And I was somewhere like I was just like randomly wandering through this. And there was nobody else in this section. There was like a couple customers, but they were like in the aisle next to it. There was no one like in amongst the cribs. And I started to hear this music, like a baby's lullaby kind of thing. And I turn around, and one of the mobiles on one of the cribs was spinning, and like it had gone off. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, okay, scientifically, let's look at this. There was no breeze that could have like randomly set it to spinning. There's no one else in the area, so no one could have like, been curious and turned it on. So it just was sitting there slowly spinning, playing its little music.
And like the music on those things is always creepy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, children's things being haunted is like always 10 times more creepy, and I don't know why.
Just because children's stuff is always supposed to be innocent, and then like the idea of it being possessed is just like uber creepy.
No, it's fine. Children are just.
I mean, that too.
Maybe that too.
I mean, I'm a teacher, and I can tell you, kids are creepy. They definitely. There's things that they will say to you, and you're just like, "Oh, wow, okay."
Actually,
Some of it's like that, and some of it's like, I think kids see things that other people don't, and they'll come to you with stories, and you're like, "Whoa, okay, moving on."
Like, I'm ignoring you said that, actually.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, just gonna move on from this topic. But yeah, those were my stories. I was trying to think of other things that have happened. I've been on a lot of like haunted ghost tours and things, but I've never really seen anything.
Good work, soldier!
I think I jinxed a ghost tour by being there.
Not necessarily, because I've been on several ghost tours. Everywhere we go, we're like, ooh, let's go on this ghost tour, and you get like the creepiness of it, but I've never actually seen anything. I think because there's so many people.
See, I consider that a good thing. I don't know. Because, like, what happens when you see one and they're like, hey, I've taken a liking to you. I'm going to go home with you now.
Like,
don't think about that.
Right?
When we went on the ghost tour, I was literally more creeped out about like the fact we were walking through a graveyard at night, and then she talked about like a serial killer that killed people in that area, and I was like,
see, that's
wow,
scary.
People are terrifying. Like, it wasn't like the idea of ghosts scaring me. It was the idea of like, you're right. We are in a dark area, and people are kind of splitting up, and I could totally get killed. That's cool.
It's like one thing
Yeah,
was scary here in what you just said, and it wasn't the ghost.
Yeah.
It's just like
Yeah, that graveyard.
I think people are the craziest, scariest thing in the whole world. I'm not even gonna lie.
yeah,
Like,
it's like
I think the creepiest thing about that graveyard, though, is that I have been going to that town every summer since I was like a kid, tiny kid. And we always park in that parking lot. And I never knew until that year that there was a giant, creepy graveyard on the other side of the street, like 6 feet
it's
away.
huge.
Because
That graveyard
from the
is like
parking
half a
lot, all you
mile
see is
big.
trees. I know, we've never gone that direction. It's just all you see is trees. And I'm like, I've been parking in this parking lot, like coming back at like 10, 11 o'clock at night. Never knew there was a graveyard on the other side of the streets. And now I do. And I
don't
know
know
it's
can't
better.
hurt you, right?
Exactly. I don't know if it's
Oh.
better than I know now.
When I was in college and I was taking my like 9 o'clock at night class, right? Because it was the only time I was available. I had to walk past by myself because only like 6 people were even in that class, so they just some of them lived in dorms. But I had to go to the parking area. I had to walk past number one, construction zone. Like it was just like this empty construction area. And then there was a church with a graveyard, and there was a single lamp in the middle of the parking lot. And usually you couldn't park around the lamp because like 99% of the time those spots were taken. So I would always have to park like near the graveyard. And so every single night I would have to walk past construction and then walk past the graveyard. And it was like, oh, this is awesome. This is like definitely 2 horror movies. And I'm a girl in college. So
You're the
that's
first one
like
that gets killed.
yeah, it's like so like I used to literally like every single like it was Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for those classes. And every single night I did call someone when I was walking back to the car. Because
Done
I
that
was
so
like,
many times.
I'm like, I'm not going past a construction area that like makes creaky noises. And also at that particular school, one of the things it was known for, though no one knew where it was exactly for, safety reasons, there was a body farm
Oh.
in the mountains. Yeah. Right, like near the school. So, there was the utmost fact that within a mile around, and I didn't know where, there were a bunch of dead bodies being studied as they decomposed.
Cool.
Creepy.
So I was having to
creepier
walk
than the
past.
ghosts.
Yeah, I was having to walk past the graveyard and the construction site, and I knew there was a body farm. I was like, oh, joy. I love this. That's great.
Yeah, that doesn't sound terrible or anything.
Yeah.
It's fine.
As if college isn't dangerous enough for girls anyway.
Yeah.
Like as if we didn't have to worry about like being harmed in so many ways anyway, then we have to add the supernatural to it. It's like that's not cool.
Yeah.
It's like you start like having conversations with the ghost. Look, if you're going to show up, I need you to show up on any guy that's going to cause me harm. Okay?
Yes. Yes.
Just
Yes,
don't
please.
target me. Don't target me. If I see you attack, a creepy guy, I'm just gonna cheer you on. Okay? We're kosher. Okay?
I have lots of creepy guys following me around in Japan stories. But that's another episode.
Yeah, that's a different topic of creep.
Well, see, because I often hang out around the quote unquote dangerous part of Japan, quote unquote. So I have stories. None of them are super serious because I'm way bigger than anybody here. So
I still feel like
I'm tall.
the Japanese definition of like the dangerous part of town is not nearly the same as like the American concept of
Oh
a
no, not
dangerous
at
part
all.
of town. Just
I
like
feel completely safe walking around at the dangerous part of town at 3 o'clock in the morning by myself. I don't care.
like the thing about like Japan is I feel like they have things like the Yakuza, which are like in theory very dangerous organizations. If you're also
But
a
then
dangerous
again,
organization, if you're not a dangerous organization, they're very nice and polite to you.
Yeah,
actually,
exactly.
no.
Like,
I've legitimately met tons of guys in the Yakuza, like legitimately, and they are super nice.
Right, because if you're a normal person, they don't have a problem with you.
Do
Like
they
yeah,
have
that's
zero
not
problem
their
with you?
business.
they have an honor code that you're not supposed to mess with the normal people. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
Like you're not their business, so they don't have a problem
Yep.
with you. Like it's fine.
Yep.
It's like if you're not a policeman or a gang, who cares? Like
Yeah,
you're not
pretty
interfering with
much.
their business.
So I also the thing that's so interesting about Yakuza is that they their headquarters, the police know their headquarters address. Out front it says, "Hey,
yeah, no,
this is where the Yamaguchi-gumi is."
Yep.
Like, what's up? And so what's crazy is this year, this Halloween, they legally banned Yakuza from giving kids candy as like trick or treating. So like recently trick or treating has kind of taken off in Japan, not in the same way, but like businesses will do it and they'll have like trunk or treats and things like that, like similar. And I guess that the Yakuza was holding a trick or treat event at their headquarters every year. And so they had to pass a law to prevent that.
I feel like that just makes so much sense. Like, my my Japanese teacher told this story about how he worked for the mail delivery in Japan when he was young to make some money over the summer, and Keita Sensei said that he just was fine doing it, and he always delivered mail to this empty building, right? And he could tell by the sign outside of it that it was Yakuza. Yakuza, not subtle about it.
No,
But like
not
it was
subtle at
it was
all.
always like empty. So he was like, okay, and so he'd leave the mail in like the boxes or whatever, and then he would leave, Except one time he got there and there were 3 guys, and one of them was like clearly like very high up, and like just turns to like said something to one of the other ones, and they come over and bring him some extra money and just tell him what a good job he's been doing and that they've noticed. And
Oh.
he apparently biked immediately back to his workplace and told them he was
Good
fired.
work, soldier.
Yeah, I would.
He was just like, I'm not okay being noticed by the Yakuza. Like,
Nope.
no. Like, he's like, they didn't threaten me. They actually gave me money, and I know.
Like
Nope,
they
nope,
like
nope,
me,
nope.
and I'm not sure how I feel about this.
No, I know exactly how I feel about this. I'm not okay
Nope.
with this.
Like, I just like the Yakuza's like the organization where like I'm okay with them existing. I just don't want them to notice me.
Yeah.
Like let's not notice each other potentially. Like just
That's like me and spiders. It's like me and the Yakuza. Like, just don't notice me. It's cool.
Bombshell, real DM.
Yes.
Have you heard her Yakuza stories?
I have not. I need to. I'm sure that she has similar ones to me.
I guess this little like restaurant she went to was a Yakuza joint. Didn't know at first, but like they all became friends with her
Yeah.
because she would go all the time, and they all became friendly with her.
like how do you not notice?
Because she didn't
Well,
think
it's-
about it, right? Like you don't really think about it at first, but then like someone points it out, and you're just like, oh,
Is that why everyone like had tattoos and
Well, because you
dressed a
can't
certain
see their
way?
tattoos at first, honestly. The only time you can really see their tattoos is if they are whatchamacallit, if it's a summer festival. The summer festivals
true.
you can
Like,
see their
the roll-up-
tattoos.
with the roll up, yeah.
Yeah, and that's where I have known for sure that I was in the presence of someone because I would run into them with their tattoos. basically. They're very what's the word I'm looking for? Friendly. Friendly, yeah.
Well,
They're super friendly when it comes to that stuff in summer festivals.
it
Because
kind of
everyone's just
reminds
there to
me
hang
of
out.
the stories of like bikers and stuff in the U.S. where like people have had bikers just kind of like save them because there's certain groups of bikers, like just certain groups, where they're just like completely by a code, and if someone's harassing you or something, man, they will come to your like aid. But it's only like certain groups, because the other groups will just like be part of the ones harassing.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's how gangs should be, like organized
Yeah,
for
it's like
protection. So why are you being dicks to other people? Like, that's why you formed an organization in the first place? To
well,
stop that?
like I was born in North Carolina, and basically in North Carolina during the colonies, um England just really didn't care about us, and when they would send a royal governor over, the royal governor would go down to Charleston in South Carolina and be like, I'm gonna hang out here, or up to like Richmond or whatever, and like just be like, we are not um uh, we are not gonna mess with you guys. So then we had a bunch of runaway slaves. All of us were poor in North Carolina, um, and all of that because like this we literally have an area of North Carolina called the Great Dismal Swamp, which sounds like it's out of a D&D game.
It kind of,
But
sort of does.
and it gets on fire occasionally.
Of
And
course it does.
I'm serious. Like the Great Dismal Swamp constantly like every couple of years there's a huge fire in it, and so then like the clouds just like are all like billowing gray over it in that distance, right? And it's huge because it is actually great. Um, but it separates the border in that area from Virginia. So basically, when slaves ran away in Virginia, and when they would fall in love with, interracial couples, they would run into the swamp, and basically groups would set up like outposts in it and stuff like that to give shelter. And the bounty hunters were just like, no, fuck that, we're not going in there. It's like it was so because it was literally like Princess Bride, where it's just like we are not going in there. Like, what are you talking about? There's RUSS, like
Yeah.
like there wasn't actually rodents of unusual size, but that's basically what the swamp is. So what happened in North Carolina was we had no real leadership. At one point, the Scots Irish also came over because they had rebelled and failed in England, and they came over, and we were just like the ultimate state of misfits that like had no money. So the pirates, like Blackbeard, were like, okay, you know what you do have? You have a lot of trees and you have tar, and we need both of those for our ships. And we were like, well, you have stuff you're stealing from Virginia and South Carolina, and we could use that stuff. And they were like, deal. So we literally our governor back then was like, eventually when we actually got a governor to stay in the state, was like, no, they're not pirates, they're traders, as in with a D, and not like
Yeah, they're trading
they're
us
like
neat stuff. I don't know what you're talking
They're
about.
trading, yeah.
If we
and
don't
so like
ask where
they
it
kept
came from, it's not
using like the
stolen.
piracy commands, like and ignoring like royal decrees of like, and like to the point where like Virginia takes all this credit for killing Blackbeard. That's because they scared him, like they came after him in our waters, even though they were not allowed to be in our waters, and like managed to chase him north where they could kill him. But we were like, no, he's our friend. And yeah, that's how we were with like most pirates. We were like, they're our friends. They give us like porcelain and crap that you guys don't think we need, and you think we shouldn't get because we're poor. and we like fix their ships for them. It's great. And so yeah, that explains a lot about North Carolina's personality as a whole.
It's
Scots, Irish, and
weird.
pirates.
History is weird.
I just like it's great though, because it's like we loved the pirates here. We completely loved the pirates.
Okay.
We try to protect the pirates.
So, we are just wrapping up nearish the 2-hour mark. No bombshell.
Pirates are totally Halloween too. That fit in.
They
totally
are.
do. Yeah.
I know Bombshell had stuff she had to do.
Yeah.
So we'll
Nice
start
way
Get
wrapping up.
going.
Bombshell. Hey, anything you want to pitch? Projects coming up?
Well, I just wanted to say thank you so much for having me, and I am going to be streaming again a lot more. Right now, I'm going to do once a week still, but pretty soon should be ramping up to twice a week again. And I have a body now, so come hang out and come see my new body.
I'll always.
So I guess. Yeah, it's always Stagey's always so sweet and comes and hangs out with me. So for those of you who don't know, I'm virtual. I'm not real. So I didn't have a body for the longest time, and so now I have a body.
I
It's
don't know what you're
cool.
talking about. You had the magical glasses. That was your body.
Yeah, I had magical glasses. Yeah, I was a ghost myself. I was possessing the glasses. And
Wasn't that the
finally,
lore we established today? That the glasses
Yeah.
are actually you, and the body is just like
The
a
glasses are me,
manifestation.
yeah. Yep. So yeah, that's all I have to pitch, I think.
Okay. Well, yeah. So everyone, go check out Bombshell. Her content is great. She's fun. Her laugh is infectious. And when she does scary things, she screams a lot.
I'm sorry, I don't like scary things. Except last night when I was trying to play Siren Head, it was more like I don't like this frustratingly bad game.
Yeah, you didn't so much get scared at that. You got mad at it.
Yeah, I wanted to blow the freaking game up. It's okay. It's okay.
But thanks for coming. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, this was fun. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, maybe
It was great meeting you.
maybe we'll do another one of these. We'll figure out a day when figure out a time at least when it's not like super early or super late. I don't know.
I can deal with this time. But yeah, this was super fun and it was super fun meeting you, Bray and Kim. This was awesome.
Yeah. It was kind of fun talking to you.
But yeah, so for those who don't know, Bray and Kimchi, they are players in my Lancer game, which is a pen and paper tabletop RPG. It is about giant robots and mechas in the far future where everything is scary and terrifying because super AI want to control the galaxy, but not.
No, the scariest thing is that he said that there's no dogs.
Listen, I didn't say there weren't dogs in the galaxy, just the planet that you're on.
You got rid of dogs on a planet.
I didn't.
You monster.
I kind of agree there.
There
Seiji,
are
I'm kind of
dogs.
I don't know what sort of
disappointed.
mind
Just the
comes
rich
up with a
people.
planet.
The rich people have
No.
animals. The poor people can't afford it, and it's a desert planet.
Bombshell, does this make sense to you?
No, makes zero sense to me.
Yeah, see?
I'm so
Hang up on
sorry.
me.
Seiji, I'm appalled that you would choose to not have doggies.
I know, like, man, we had to use several downtime actions to even locate a dog on the black market, and then we had to return it to its actual owner, but we get to visit it. That's the most dog we get.
Oh.
Sir William Wallace is the best doggy ever.
He is a great dog.
All doggies are the best doggy.
You won't let us have our own dog.
So the next game of Lancer is in fact tomorrow. It'll be 6 p.m. Eastern. Usually go to about 10 or 11. Kind of depends on schedules and how the session goes. So if you are interested, we do run Lancer every other Sunday. That will be this Sunday. If you like tabletop RPGs, if you like mecha stuff, if you just like listening to the three of us talk about nonsense. We have other players too, they're not here today. But, it's a good time.
One of them brings excessively more nonsense. Romy.
Yeah, Romy causes trouble. But yeah, if you are interested, check us out tomorrow. Tomorrow's episode is called Post-Mortem. It's following a thread about a team of supposedly dead Lancer pilots. They've discovered one of them is still alive. Maybe.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, it'll be it's be an interesting story-driven session.
That something makes the last time being Phantom make more sense.
Wow, it's like I planned these out or something.
You say you don't.
I do, and then I
Every
don't.
single time you go, like, I don't have plans.
Oh, I do and I don't. Right? Like as a DM, I don't know if anyone who does a lot of D&D as a DM. Like there's a certain amount of planning that you can't do because if you do, everything falls apart. So you just kind of have to like outline it and wing it because your players will always do something that you didn't expect them to do.
Is this like Schrodinger's plan?
So you do skeletons.
It's a skeleton plan. There's no meat on them bones. I make that up as I go. But yeah, so check out Bombshell. If you're interested, you can come and check out Lancer. My streaming schedule, other than that, is trying to figure out how the heck I want to around.
No, you wouldn't stream the Phasmophobia.
Phasmophobia.
Yeah,
Well, no,
Phasmophobia.
we were on Monty's stream. I was a guest on his stream.
No, like you were just like, I didn't think about streaming it, and so he was like, well, I'm gonna stream it then.
It's fine. I don't have to stream everything I do.
I mean, I think that's kind of what you're trying to do with this channel, actually. I think that's actually the point of being a streamer.
Nah. That's like your opinion, man. But thank you everybody
As
who came
someone
out today.
who has been subscribed for 6 months now, it is a solid opinion.
Has it been 6 months? Good lord.
Yes. No, I can share it. Look.
Good lord, has it actually been that long? What is wrong with... Oh god, thank you for thank you for the prime sub. Oh lord, this just I feel bad now. Let's do a raid. We're gonna raid Lexi. I don't know if anyone knows Lexi. She is a friend of the channel. She is currently playing Final Fantasy XIV. She is doing progression raiding. She is the only person I feel like raiding today that is streaming.
We're rating her rating.
Yes.
Okay.
You understand.
Raid.
You understand where I'm going with this. But yes, so thanks everyone who came. Thanks for the new follows, for the new viewers. I hope you had fun. Thanks, Bray, for the sub and making me feel bad about the fact that I've done nothing with my channel.
I mean, that's my job. So.
Again, Bombshell, thank you for coming. Kimchi, Bray, thank you for sharing your spooky and paranormal stories. The 8-Bit Bistro live format. I hope people like it. It's something new I'm trying. This is only like 4th episode that I've done. I'd like to do a lot more of these. Maybe you'll see Bombshell again. I gotta figure out some more topics. I think I've kind of ran dry on my initial planning, so...
Gangs and you.
Sadly, I have people I could ask for that. So, that's the thing. Although some of them are like big-time streamers, so I don't... That'll be weird. I have a socials command. I have a Discord. I have a Twitter. I try to keep people that not...
Is your bot not behaving today?
It's
I don't
connected.
think I've seen your bot today.
No, I turned off the timer. Apparently it turned off my...
Oh no!
What?
Bot trouble.
What? I don't... It says it's enabled. What? You know what? It's fine.
The ghost turned it off.
Yep.
The ghost we told you was with you, that you wouldn't believe us.
There you go. There's your proof.
What? Bot. What? I don't understand, bot. What?
The ghost is now the ghost in the machine.
Listen, that's my Discord. I typed it. That's my Discord. If you're interested, join. I have a Twitter link. It's on my profile. I do post fairly frequently in advance of like actual streams, other than the Lancer one, because that's guaranteed every other week. So if you're interested in catching another one of these events, pop onto my Twitter. Whenever I figure out what the heck I'm doing for the next event, we'll do that. We'd love to have you. So now,
Good work, soldier.
Oh, Asu, thank you for the follow. Also, hello, Asu. I didn't know you were looking. Thanks for looking. Yeah, we're gonna do the raid now. Say hello to Lexi. I don't have a raid call because I don't have more than one emote, and the one emote I have is kind of a meme.
I feel like you need a potato emote. Just
I really do,
memory.
but I keep trying to get people to do emotes, and they're all busy. So just say hello and say hello to Lexi, and just, I don't know, watch her content. She's entertaining.
Are we the Ghost Brigade this time?
Sure. Sure, why not? Spooky Halloween raid. Yeah, okay.
Spooky.
But yes, thank you everyone who came, and I hope to see you next time, whenever next time is. Either that's tomorrow or the next Bit Bistro. But until then, stay safe and take care of yourself. And for now, have a good night. That raid went.
Yep, the raid went
Yep.